Good morning. I hope you had a great weekend. Today, the purpose of my study is to show you that kings can do exactly as they please. And this is something that we need to understand. When we turn to Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 4 and we read there, Solomon says, "Since a king's word is supreme, who can say to him, 'What are you doing?'" This is an interesting statement made by Solomon. He makes it very clear that kings can do exactly as they please. And many times we find ourselves in situations where we might question the actions of the king. I have found that when things go wrong on planet Earth, and although God is seen to be the king, people turn around almost in disrespect and they question God's actions. They actually say, "What are you doing?" Now, I wonder if there is something we can learn from this, something that we as servants need to understand. What is our true position? How are we to behave in the king's presence? Daniel chapter 4, we are introduced to Nebuchadnezzar making a statement. He says this, and he's talking about the Most High God. His kingdom is an eternal kingdom. His dominion endures from generation to generation. Here Nebuchadnezzar acknowledges something. In Daniel chapter 2, Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, "You are the head of gold." That means your kingdom is an incredible kingdom. And all the other kingdoms that will follow your kingdom will be inferior to yours. Now, this could go to anybody's head. Especially when we are successful, we tend to think that we are the bee's knees. Something has happened to Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel chapter 4. Something that makes him recognize that the Most High God is the king. I want you to notice he goes on and he says that he had a dream. Amazing again, that God reveals himself to us by dreams and visions. And he makes himself known to Nebuchadnezzar again in a dream. And in this dream he says, "I was lying in my bed," from verse 5 on of Daniel chapter 4. "The images and visions that passed through my mind terrified me. So I commanded that all the wise men of Babylon be brought before me to interpret the dream for me." It's interesting that this time Nebuchadnezzar knows his dream. He does again what he always does. He calls those wise people, his counselors, to him. And he forgot Isaiah chapter 8 again, that says, "Should we not consult God?" And but the interesting thing, we're going to come to Daniel in the story again. As we're going on, Daniel comes into his presence because he's called by Nebuchadnezzar to do this. And in Daniel chapter 4 verse 9, "I said, Belteshazzar," this is now Daniel, "chief of the magicians, I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no mystery is too difficult for you. Here's my dream, interpret it for me. These are the visions I saw while lying in my bed. I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its tops touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, its fruit abundant, and on it was food for all. Under it, the beasts of the field found shelter, and the birds of the air lived in its branches. From it, every creature was fed. In the vision I saw while lying in my bed, I looked, and there before me was a messenger, a holy one coming down from heaven. He called in a loud voice, 'Cut down the tree and trim off its branches, strip off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals flee from under it, and the birds from its branches. But let the stump and its roots, bound with iron and bronze, remain in the ground, in the grass of the field. Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven, and let him live with the animals among the plants of the earth. Let his mind be changed from that of a man, and let him be given the mind of an animal, till 7 times pass by for him. The decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over the kingdoms of men, and gives them to anyone he wishes, and sets over them the lowliest of men. Then Nebuchadnezzar said to Daniel, "This is the dream that I dreamed." King Nebuchadnezzar had. "Now, Belteshazzar, tell me what it means, for none of the wise men in my kingdom can interpret it for me, but you can, because the spirit of the holy gods is in you." Here I want you to notice something about this dream. We have an incredible tree, a tree that grows and fills the whole earth. Everybody is dependent on it. But we also find out that this tree is given a gender. It says there, "Let him be drenched with the dew of heaven." Tomorrow, I'm going to discuss further this incredible dream that God gave to Nebuchadnezzar and why he gave it. We just got a hint just now. It said there that the decision is announced by messengers. Verse 17, the holy ones declares the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign over the kingdoms of men, and gives them to anyone he wishes, and sets over them the lowliest of men. I want you to know that if you allow God, he will communicate with you. And one thing you will learn, and that is that God is the King of your life. He is sovereign. May God bless you today.